Hello everyone, welcome to Yarnscrossing. My name is Bina and I would like to start this beautiful and colorful pillowcase with you today. The tutorial will be divided into two videos, and in the first part we will work on the front here and the back, and the second part is about the border here and how to join the two pieces together and the closure at the bottom here. And if you are interested in that, then stay tuned, we are about to start now. Now I'll show you what we need for our colorful project now. We need 5 colors of wool or yarn, 2 balls of each color. For this project we are working with 2 threads in parallel. This gives the cushion a denser look at the front, and 1 ball weighs 50 grams. I choose the yarn Lamia Fettuccine from Hobium Yarns because it has a woven structure and the loops look very nice with it. My pattern works perfectly with this amount of yarn and this yarn type. If you choose a different yarn or only want to work with 1 thread, I can't assure you that the measurements will work out. You will have to try it out a bit. For the back we need at least 2 balls in white, so you'd better get 4 balls, then you'll be on the safe side. We work a border at the end, and with this you can adjust the size of your cushion cover to your cushion. And depending on how big it is, so you'd better have some white as a reserve. And yes, you see right, this colorful yarn forms the front, and these 2 balls are enough for the back. The loop stitch eats up a lot of yarn, which is why I decided to do a cushion project now. So that's all the yarn we need. Then we need a tape measurement, a crochet hook, and we use the 4.5mm crochet hook. It's from the Luxebelle Set from Amazon, so you can find all of it in the description box below. We use the 4.5 because we want to have a very tight stitch pattern where the loops can't slip through to the back so easily. We work double thread. The needle size is actually 3 to 3.5, therefore for a tight stitch pattern a 4.5mm is sufficient for working with the double thread. If you want a looser stitch, then you need to use a larger needle. We also need a sewing needle to sew in the threads later, a pair of scissors, and a cushion of your choice. Mine is a standard 50 by 50 centimeter cushion, a little smaller I think, but you'll see that later. What we also need are 2 buttons and a needle and a thread, but that will be used in the second tutorial part. Theoretically, you can also sew in a zipper, but I do it with the buttons here. So let's take our cushion and let's measure it out from the one side to the other side. But don't stretch the tape measure too tight, just lay it over the curve. For me it's just now some of 47 to 48 centimeters, and we don't want to exceed this size with our project, so otherwise the cushion cover won't fit very well, but it will be too big. So 47 to 48 centimeter in the width and the same in the height. Now if your cushion is a tiny bit smaller, don't worry about it. Then you can probably just crochet the back piece and the front on top of each other and have a good fit with it. If your cushion is bigger than mine, then just work a few more rounds of border around the end and it will fit your size. Then we start with the first color. We take yellow, 2 balls, 2 threads parallel. So now we cast on our chain stitches for our base. We do 53 stitches plus 1 for the height. And now we want to have another quick look at how it sits on our cushion. I've got a bit of a slack here now, but that's about to tighten up a bit because of the single crochets. We'll now work the first row completely in single crochet. So we skip the front stitch and go into the one behind it. Pull the yarn through and form a single crochet. And continue with this for this row until the end. So here we have the last stitch. Form our single crochet as normal. So let's see how our first row has shortened with the first row of single crochets, and we are now at about, so let's take the measurement tape. We have now about 42 centimeters. That actually fits pretty well. The difference between the cushion size of 42 centimeters and 48 centimeters is perfectly fine. We can compensate for this later with the endings and the border. But if you now say that is far too tight for me, then you will unfortunately have to open up again and crochet a few more of chain stitches. But then you may not have enough colored yarn for the specified numbers of rows. For me, the 2 balls of yarn make 7 rows per color, and the 5 colors next to each other are roughly the height of my cushion. So now let's continue with the loop stitch in the next row. So 1 stitch to turn, yarn over with your finger 3 times. You have 3 rings on the finger. We go backwards through the single crochet with the crochet hook, grab the second ring from the finger and pull it towards us. This forms a loop here at the front. We go under the first thread and take it with us and go forward through the fixed stitch. Drop the loop and hold it with your middle finger and then form our new single crochet. So if this is too fast for you, I've made a separate tutorial for the loop stitch. I'll link it to you here in the info box and also below down in the description box. There you can take a look at the technique for the loop stitch again at your leisure. So, one more time again, 3 rings on the finger, through the single crochet to the back, grab the second ring from the finger and pull it towards us. You go under the first thread, take it with you and pull everything to the single crochet. Drop the loop and hold it and form the single crochet. This will create the loop stitch on the other side. And here on this side you will see only single crochets. Now we do this until the end of the row. So we are now here at the last stitch of the row. So we have to form our last loop. Under the V, grab the second ring from your finger and pull it towards you. Under the first thread, take it with you, pull it through, drop the loop, hold it with your finger and build your single crochet. So we have now made our first row of loop stitches. During the first rows of your work will turn and twist in a little. This is quite normal because we are crocheting very tight. Just stretch it a little every now and then, and the more we crochet upwards, the less this will happen. The pillowcase will be completed smooth afterwards. We can measure it again now. We are now at a length of just over 44 centimeters and it will be fine. I'm looking forward to it. With 1 or 2 rows of border, we'll have a great fit of our pillowcase. The first row of loop stitches here. At the end of the loop row, we do another turn stitch. So just chain 1 and turn your work. And then we go into another row of single crochets. So when we look at the loops, we always do a row of single crochet. So the loop stitch always consists of a row of single crochet in the first round, and then we do the loop stitches in the next round. Let's finish this row with just single crochets. We've now come to the end again, and I just wanted to show you this briefly. So look, this is how it rolls in for me now, so don't panic, it will be smooth later, I promise you. So don't forget the edge stitches here. Last stitch, chain 1 and turn your work again. And when the single crochets are looking at us, we'll do the loop stitch again. So I just wanted to tell you that my loops are about 2 to 3 centimeters long, just to give you an idea. If you make the loops much longer or wider, the yarn might not be enough at the end, so keep that in mind. Maybe order a little more yarn before you run out of it. That would be really sad. And now we quickly finish this row of loop stitches and then take a closer look at the pattern. So we now finished our second row of loop stitches. So you can see very clearly that a pattern set consists of a row of single crochets and a row of loop stitches on top. We already have 2 sections here, so we crochet a total of 7 of these sections per color. So 7 rows of single crochets with 1 row of loop stitches above each. You are finished with this color when you have completed the 7th row with loops, or leave the last stitch because we will then connect the next color to it immediately. So I will see you at the end of the yellow color. 7 rows of single crochets and loop stitches on top of them. We now have the last stitch of the last loop row here. The color change now goes as follows. So we will do the last stitch together. We have to go as normal through the single crochet. We have 3 rings on our finger and we grab the second ring from the finger. We take the first thread with us and pull it all together through the stitch. We drop the loop and we also drop the yellow thread and put everything down for now. The needle stays as it is with the 2 stitches on it. So now we take the next color and continue with it. We take this pastel green or mint green. So we take both balls of yarn and you want to leave about 25 to 30 centimeters at the end because we need the thread to be sewn into our crochet work. So we take both threads and we put them on the hook and pull both threads of the green color through the last 2 stitch links of yellow. And then we do another stitch to fix everything. So they are secured now. I wanted to show you I crocheted quite tightly, so there is the rest of my yellow color. If you crochet looser or make the loops a bit bigger, there will of course be much less left. So we'll continue now. We also leave about 25 centimeters of our yellow color and then just cut the thread. So let's continue with the green. We have already made an extra stitch. That means we are now turning the work. And now we can put another row of single crochets on top of it as normal. We are now back in the first round of stitches. Just continue with a row of single crochets. And you just continue crocheting like this. This round of single crochet and the back row with loop stitches. Then single crochet again and then another row of loop stitches. And now you do this change 7 times, just like with the yellow color. And then you tie on the blue color and then afterwards the purple one. And when we are done with purple, we do the color change together again. So go ahead, you'll get it. We'll see you when we are done with the purple color. If you can handle the color changes, it should look like this now. This is the inside of our pillowcase. We have our beautiful yellow down here, then the transition to green, then to blue, to purple. And now let's have a look at the front as well. This is what the color gradient looks like from our front. Doesn't it look sugary sweet? I'm so happy with it. So let's do the color change together again. We have our last stitch to go. So we make our last loop stitch. You go through it as normal with the crochet hook, under the V. You have 3 rings on your finger. Grab the second ring from the finger and pull it towards you. Take the first thread with you, pull everything through, drop the loop. The crochet hook stays inside and we will lay everything down. And now we grab our last color, and that would be pink in our case here. So we take both threads of our color and we leave 25 centimeters of our thread for sewing in later. So just grab the pink, put it onto your hook, and we pull it through the last 2 purple loops. And then form another stitch to seal it in. And we turn everything over again and go into the single crochet row as usual. Quite normally, so again, the first row with single crochet and the back row with the loop stitch. And this alternately 7 times. I'll just show you how much of the purple is left here. I just wanted to show you there is this much of my purple left, much less than the yellow one, and I think I made the loops a bit bigger. So I just wanted to show you it can be a bit tight with 2 balls of yarn if the loops are too big. So maybe you want to order some more to be on the safe side. I'll finish the pink now and we'll see each other again at the end of our last color. We are now on the last stitch of our last row of loops. So we want to leave some of the end yarn again and then cut it off. And now we pull it all through the last stitch. So let's have a look at the whole thing. I think the colors look really great and I'm so excited. Those rainbow colors are stunning. I'm going to turn everything over to the loop side and I want to measure again now. So I take my measuring tape and the width is 43 centimeter and the height is also about 43 to 44 centimeter. I would say that the number of rows for the square is perfect. I'm really happy that it turned out this way. So we had 54 chain stitches, one taken away for the height, so 53 stitches per row, 7 pattern repeats per color and 5 colors in total: yellow, green, blue, lilac and pink. Now I'll show you how we sew the threads on the side, but I will only show this with one color, so you can then apply it to the other colors as well. Otherwise it will be really long. So in this case I do it this way. I wanted to put a loop around the edge, so we go from the back to the front with the crochet hook and bring the thread through the back. We leave a loop at the front and we make a knot at the side, here at the edge. So tighten everything up and then we take care of the rest of the thread. I will show you how. So we want to try to weave the thread into the pattern back here, but you have to keep a little thing in mind. We don't go into this upper part because these are the loop stitches. This V's here, these can loosen and in the process the edge thread could slip out, and that's why we want to go with the thread into the pattern underneath. So here into the single crochets, not here above, but here under it into the single crochets. There the thread can then be woven in very tightly. So we use our wool needle for this. And a quick tip for the threading: put the thread around the eye of the needle and press it together with your fingers. Pull the needle out and then go over the pressed thread with the eye. This makes it super easy to thread the thread. I turn it now. Now we go about 5 stitches into the single crochets to the inside with the edge thread. So not into the V's, underneath the V's, very important. So 5 stitches to the inside, pull it through, stretch the whole thing a bit, and then we want to go back. But keep in mind, not into the same stitch, but 1 or 2 before it. So just weave in the thread backwards, you just pull it through again. And now you can do the same with the other threads hanging on the side. And so we've finished the whole front piece for our cushion. Now we're going to work on our back piece, which is going to be very simple. We need 2 balls of yarn again, this time in white. And the back piece is crocheted in double crochets only. We need fewer stitches than for the front piece because the double crochet is much more flexible and stretchy. We now cast on 43 chain stitches and I add 2 more for the height. So now we have a total of 45 chain stitches. I use 2 of them for the height. That's enough for the bottom row of stitches. If you'd like, you can also add 3 stitches for the height. So that leaves us 43 double crochets per row. We turn over and go into the third stitch and make the next double crochet. And I continue like this until the end. So now we have 43 stitches and I wanted to measure it again now. Don't be confused. It looks much shorter than the front piece, but we have much more elasticity. It will stretch later. We have a total of 36 centimeters at the moment, but as you can see, it's very stretching. If I pull it apart a bit, I'll be at just under 42 centimeters, and that's the height we need for the back. We now crochet rows of double crochets until we reach a height of 42 centimeters. 3 stitches for the height, turn the work, and we go into the next row of double crochet, and so on and so forth until we reach 42 centimeters for the height. So I'm ready now, and I've made now 32 rows in total. I am deliberately leaving the white thread on at the end because we will continue with the border in the next part of the Loopy Loop Unicorn Pillowcase video. In this video part, we have now made the front part and the back part. That's it for the first part of the Loopy Loop Unicorn Pillowcase. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, keep your yarns crossing and have fun with your projects. See you in part 2.